is a foreigner in Africa. Feel at home in Kenya. This is truly your home. This is our home. Africa is our home. The Kenya Judiciary considers it an honor to host this year's Management Committee meeting of the South African Chief Justices Forum and also the Judicial Symposium on Digitization and Internet Governance. For us, this is an ideal opportunity for the Chief Justices and other distinguished jurists from across the region to share our experiences, ideas, and perspectives on the administration of justice and the question of digitization and internet governance. My Lord, Chief Justices, ladies and gentlemen, it is a reality that today the importance of digitization and the internet for social and human development cannot be gainsaid. The digitization of government services, including judicial services, is increasingly considered a key ingredient for modernization of public and private sector processes and crucial for enhancing efficiency in service delivery. Indeed, it is now widely accepted that digitization is crucial for the realization of the goal of an agile government process that are expeditious, efficient, flexible, and responsive. Our judiciaries in Africa are testimony to this. In recent times, as we all know, courts across the region have embraced virtual courts, e-filing, and electronic case management systems, which has resulted in improved efficiencies and cost effectiveness in the way we deliver justice. Across various sectors of the society and economy, we have witnessed the integration of the internet, software, social media platforms, algorithms, and digital devices into our daily lives and decision-making in the public and private sectors. What this means is that in the near future, many private and public agencies look set to transition to being fully digital or partly digital in their operations. And for us in Africa, we cannot be left behind in this transition, and I'm certain that we can all point out examples of how digital technologies and internet have revolutionized how we operate and access services. In such a context, the governance of this brave new world brought about by the embrace of digitization and the internet becomes crucial given the impact of digital technologies in the relationship between our citizens, private enterprises, and also the state. We've been told that the state is scared of the unknown, especially the power of the internet. So we need to nurture them and encourage them to work with us. Even as we celebrate the advance in social and human development linked to the embrace of digital technologies and the internet, we must acknowledge the reality that digital technologies and the internet also have another dark face or a dark side, as they carry with them significant risk. It is a reality that big technology companies, the ones we call big tech, are behind the digital technologies that we rely on, have amassed significant power due to our reliance on these technologies. For example, private technology platforms such as the Amazon, Google, Facebook, Apple, Uber, Twitter, YouTube, Microsoft, and Airbnb effectively control global access to information, services, and products. They play a significant role in setting the parameters of access to markets and freedoms of expression through their proprietary algorithms. Given the immense power amassed by these private entities, there is undoubtedly a need for regulating their operations. It has also become increasingly apparent that in politics, social media has at times been used to divide societies and polarize political systems. This has been a function of the deployment of hate speech, fake news, and disinformation through social media platforms. These concern items in most of the countries in the region during the electioneering period. That is what we are experiencing at the moment in Kenya. Related to this is the abuse of digital technologies and internet for abuse of children who are a vulnerable group in the society. This often takes the form of child pornography and child trafficking. In such a context, the need to oversight and regulate the use of digital technologies and the internet becomes imperative. Given the anxiety and concerns that I have just highlighted, the question becomes whether there are ways to navigate and respond to this state of affairs in a manner that respects human rights norms and standards. And in my view, we should approach the digital world as a global common or public good, which is essentially a common or a shared community asset or resource. And under such a conception of digital world, we would see the problems associated with digitization and the internet, such as cybercrimes, misinformation, political propaganda, and the propagation of hate speech as the polluters of our common shared resources, and therefore seek to protect our common good. For example, the production of disinformation by groups in social media pollutes the environment, creating ethnic or racial tensions and polarization among groups in the society. This therefore makes it necessary to regulate the development and use of digital technologies and the internet just in the same manner as the adopted in tackling the problem of polluters of the environment, which is also a shared common resource. We must pull together to protect our common resource. This approach to the digital world resonates with the influential and widely known concept of the tragedy of the commons that was popularized by Garrett Hardin, whose import is what ungoverned consumption or exploitation of a shared resource by individuals seeking to maximize their individual gain, often as the consequence of learning or destroying the common resource. We have a duty to protect this common resource from exploitation. This is the tragedy that we must avoid as we seek to exploit the common resource, that is the digital world. My Lord Chief Justices, distinguished participants, the digital world demands governance mechanisms that are democratic, participatory, deliberative, and inclusive. This involves embracing stakeholder involvement in designing the governance frameworks. The aim should be to ensure that internet is a digital commons that is used in a way that fosters respect for human rights and social justice and promotes transparency and accountability in governance and in the society. The judiciary thus becomes crucial in enforcing these standards in disputes regarding the justification, legality, and proportionality of state measures such as the internet shutdowns. In my view, judicial intervention in disputes over the governance of the digital world ought to take into account and promote human rights, social justice, and the imperative of public participation and input. It is such an approach that ensures that the governance of the digital world is geared towards promoting this common good and produces a public benefit. To conclude, we are at a critical juncture in Africa regarding our use and control of digital technologies and the internet, and this demands that we put in place governance frameworks that simultaneously oversees the digital world and also harness digital technologies and the internet to promote human development. My challenge to us this morning during this judicial symposium is for us to think through how to design regulatory frameworks and adopt approaches to judicial intervention in disputes over digitization and internet governance that ensure digital technologies and the internet work for the greatest benefit of our societies. I wish all of us very, very peaceful stay in Kenya, and I also wish you fruitful deliberations and look forward to sustaining this joint symposium model as a dialogic to advance the cooperation and judicial exchanges, and to mostly celebrate us in Africa for looking inward for solutions that we encounter as judiciaries. I also welcome you, my brother and sister judges, to enjoy the unparalleled Kenyan hospitality. And my team is fully at your service to ensure that you enjoy your stay here in Nairobi. And allow me to apologize if our hospitality does not meet your expectation. We are trying to do our best to make your stay here most memorable. And with those remarks, allow me, with grace and gratitude, to welcome the chairperson of the South African Chief Justices Forum, the Honorable Chief Justice, Mr. Peter Shivute, to address us. Thank you very much. Welcome, my brother.